There are particular things that as a Taoist we do. One of the things is to make sure that everybody has access to free health as much as possible. Another thing is to make sure that if you give workshops and classes, you don't overcharge. Of course, depending on the people behind you that need to be supported directly from that by feeding them, giving them housing and so on, the poor basically. This is a very important part, so this is part of the contributions that you pay for classes. When something becomes a business, it usually isn't a good sign for the Taoist convictions of that person. So as a result of that, we usually don't do that. We try to avoid becoming a business. So once we start buying houses, cars and so on, a lot of luxury goods, we start having jewelry, that is usually not a good sign. Looking poor though is not always a solution. Taoists also don't want to live in debt if they can, so some income of course for their community is fair, but not too much. Healthcare is our prime concern. So as a result of that, we are offering usually freebies. Freebies are things you can do to help yourself with your health. Today I'm going to give you a bunch of freebies in the form of exercises, and these exercises I'm going to explain to you. These are really good exercises to help you reduce the impact of your aging. Of course, it's better if you start in an early age. If you start late, these exercises will still be great because the purpose of them is to reduce your dependency on medication, to increase your mobility, and also to increase your balance. So a lot of aging related things can be prevented or can be resolved. Who of you as an older has already fallen at least once and maybe damaged yourself, bruised or broken something or twisted a muscle? These kind of things are indications of the fact that your metabolism is not functioning properly. If you are doing this because your joints are hypermobile, or because you are too stiff, or because your blood doesn't circulate very well, all these kind of reasons are signs of aging. When you start having dementia, chronic disease, diabetes, and so on, all these kind of things are important to help you do something to resolve this. As you know, I'm busy with my research project, and my research project, of course, is intended to create healthcare instructions for people for after climate or war or whatever kind of disaster happens to us, also in poverty. The exercises that I give in here, they are specifically to help you combat aging. They are not necessarily survival skills for all kinds of things. It's just to make you live longer and happier. Because of course, when you live longer, you are going to be more better in surviving and flourishing in life and rebuilding society, or building a better society than it was there before. At the moment, when you are working on developing the skills to create health, you need only three things. You need to be able to understand what plants and animals do for your food. Like for instance, eating meat is going to age you faster, going to fill you up with stress hormones, and it is an acquired taste. So that means that by nature you don't like meat. Whether it's raw or cooked, doesn't really matter, or fried or whatever. You always need something to make it tasteful. If you like meat raw, you might be a little bit too ferocious, probably because of eating meat. If you can remember the first time you eat raw meat, I am sure your face looked like, ugh. Yes, so you remember that. Then at the moment when you are eating vegetables or any kind of vegetables, you do need all kinds of things. So this research project is to help you with these kind of things. But also to help you how to gain maximum mobility so that you can adjust easily to your environment when it changes, or when you need to do something like working to build a house, or to help somebody pull out of a hole or pull out of the water or anything like that. Because if you're mobile, you're also stronger than you think, but you only need strength for daily survival. You don't need super strength, so you don't need to become a hero. That means you don't need to go bodybuilding. because this bodybuilding makes you stiff, makes you maybe strong, and that might be necessary once every 10 years or something, but by that time you probably already lost your strength because you aged too fast and because you were too stressed. And as a result of that, people who do excessive sports, they usually have a tendency to get depressed and also to get dementia more quickly. It's a pity. I mean, I understand everybody wants to have their fun, but it comes at a price. And I think society shouldn't pay for the healthcare for these people. So what we need to do is we need to be able to manage our own healthcare, and the healthcare that then is there is to take care of the things we could not foresee or that happen in spite of the fact that we really tried to stay healthy. Then also you learn to meditate, because at the moment when you meditate, then at that moment you become more aware. It is not to reduce your stress. This is what people in marketing try to sell you meditation for. Meditation is there to help you increase your awareness. That means that when people meditate a lot, they can do all kinds of jobs much better, like for instance sitting behind your computer, because you can maintain your posture longer time, you can prevent RSI, and so forth and so forth. All kind of things you need to do your job very well. You can also, as I have attested earlier in the movie, you can become a better rent-a-kill. I had an acquaintance, I cannot call him my friend, but he meditated to be able to deal with all the emotional stress of killing people. Seeing people die already is stressful, as maybe some of you can attest. If any of these things sounds familiar to you, then please also give me a like, and also make sure that you leave a remark in the comments so that the people can also learn from your experience, so that we gradually start building the kind of community that we need. This research project is going to start soon. I'm waiting for the recognition of my synopsis. I maybe have to rewrite a bit here and there. The summer season is almost finished, so I guess the university gets to work again soon. And then at that moment I can start looking for funding. I have done some preparatory work, and part of the funding has to come from members like you. So for a little bit per month, a little bit of a maximum per year, you can every week, every day, you can benefit from this. And then once you're finished, you can quit, and then you can benefit from it for the rest of your life. So that will be really great. But for this session, this video, we are working on a particular set of exercises that will have to help you with anti-aging. And it means that what it has to do, it has to build you a particular kind of natural composition in your body, which is called Jing inside Chinese medical language. So I'm going to tell you two stories. I'm going to tell you what people usually in regular sports say and what we Taoists say, for so far as people really practice Taoist things, because most people only do the things that governments prescribe in China, or what sport academies prescribe in either China or in the West. And that basically are Western ideas, which are not necessarily bad, but they might not be accurate. So it is limited in the scope, because they want to put their finger on something that they can say like, this is it, while in fact it usually is much wider than that. So this video also has to show you a little bit about this width. So I'm going to tell you about these exercises. Primarily there are 5 pieces of exercise. Some of the exercises are good for the morning, some good for before dinner, some for before sleeping, some you can repeat throughout the day. I know there is advertisement around where you can get like a strong body with 7 minutes of practice of Tai Chi every day. These people are not understanding what they talk about. 7 minutes for maintenance after 20 years of practice, that's okay. But to learn these kind of things and to do them right in the way that helps your body to be strong and not ripped, because a ripped body is bad for Tai Chi. But at the moment when you have a strong body, in the sense that you can do all kind of things, you have your normal healthy fat reserves in your body, you have your flexibility, you have your awareness, and so on and so on, then you are reasonably healthy in the way how you manage yourself. But from here you also have to develop yourself in other ways. So make sure you practice these things. I show you also how to build up and make sure you take your time to do these. You have only one job in life that is really very important, that is namely being alive and staying alive. By nature, we have the right to become an immortal. We could become an immortal if we don't do all the bad things to ourselves. That's what Taoism and what Chinese medicine actually says. And at the moment when you are having all kind of bad habits, maybe these exercises can help you overcome these bad habits by becoming more aware of yourself. And this being aware of yourself is a very important skill, because being aware of yourself means that you can see where you do things wrong. Let's go talk about it and discuss this.
The weather today is a little bit vague, so never mind the dark colors sometimes. The first practice we do is the wide stance in the Qigong. It's a little bit of an intense exercise, but it is a great exercise for both your buttock and your upper legs. Start with doing this exercise at least 2 minutes, 3 minutes at a time, but quickly build up in about a week or 2 weeks to about half-hour time, because this way you start pushing your joints into the right place. This is a relaxed stance, so your feet are about 45 degrees wide, and you lift up your skull at the base of the skull. You lift up the bones behind the heart and the bones between your kidneys, so that your weight can sink properly into your heels and your crown is open to heaven. Try to keep your legs relaxed and wait until you naturally sink. The purpose of the practice is to build leg strength, but also stability in your posture. The exercise, given time, will eventually stabilize your mind, but it also will stabilize your body so that your health can be arranged properly. Seen from the perspective of Chinese medicine, you're developing the Jing, or the coherence of your body. You're weaving the different parts of your body together to one whole strong unit. At the moment when you look at the Western medicine perspective in anatomy and physiology, you are developing the quadriceps and the glutes, and also opening your hips. It helps very good against knee pain and lower back pain, and it also helps you to calm your brain in the sense that you reduce headaches. There is also a Shaolin version of this. This is a Zen Buddhist version, and here we are sinking much more deep. And in the Taoist version, the Qigong, the feet are 45 degrees outward, and in Shaolin you stand with your feet straight forward. The purpose is to balance your mind, and you do this by repressing your body. The body is less important in Buddhism than in Taoism, because it's not a vehicle to become immortal, but it's a vehicle to become a Buddha. Then after that, there is of course the option to do this in the sumo way, which I call usually the gorilla stance, where you do also use the same posture and you are pushing your fist against the ground and hollow your back. Although you push your fists against the floor, you don't lean on your fists, so you only push them so that you keep your back active. As a result of this, you are going to enhance the quality of your back muscles, which will help you also to breathe better. I think it's not difficult to see the benefits from these exercises. The more you exercise, the longer time, the more benefits you will notice over time. The next exercise is a form of catwalk, and that means that you're going to step carefully forward, leaning on your heel on the back foot and lifting your heel from the front foot so that you lean on the ball of your foot. No more than 30% of your weight. So primarily 70% is on your hind leg. At the moment when you skip to the next step, you are standing on your heel first, and then you are rolling off your foot, and at that moment you also stretch your hind leg. At the moment when you go forward, you gradually slide in there because you want to enhance the flexibility of your feet. So these exercises, they help you to stabilize your ankles and your Achilles heel especially, but also the hollow of your knees, and it also helps you to prolong your spinal column and get your tailbone in the right place. Catwalk variations are very popular in Taiji Gongfu and in Taoist practice because they help you to balance yourself. You can walk on one line as if you're walking on the row of a fence, and you can also walk with a little bit your feet sideways to enhance your balance. When you have difficulty with balance, it's good to start with your feet a little bit sideways, and then gradually, to improve your balance, you can move towards a one line movement. You can draw a line in the floor, or if you walk outside on the street, you can just follow the lines in the pavement for this. The point is to do this slowly, and if you can, take time on every part of the step to shift your weight slowly, but also to hold your weight in the particular kind of postures. These movements are very efficient in helping you to enhance the way how your calves and your shin bone work, but also to use your thighs on both the front side and on the top side. This form of slow walking needs, of course, some space to walk a longer distance. So if you happen to be in the forest, you have very much benefit from that because you can walk for a long time. In Taijiquan, this is being used for a shoulder push and also to protect your own groin in that movement. So at the moment when you make the step, you take your time, and if you want, you can implement these kind of things, or you can keep your hands on your thigh. Most important is really the thigh stretching on the backside. So keep your heel on the floor when you go forward first before you move your foot forward. At the moment when you make these moves, you are using and strengthening the ligaments of your knees, but you're also helping yourself to relax your groin and to put more trust in your legs. This is very important because at the moment when you get up from a chair, you need some extra strength in your leg. Also, when you get up in the morning, especially also when you're overweight, you need some extra strength, and this kind of exercise can really help you to get that extra strength without having to overdo and grow enormous muscles so that you don't fit in your trousers anymore. Normally, what I do is when I do a regular walk as part of the Wudang Fitness second group of practices, then I hold my hands on the dantian. I like that because it helps to enhance the feeling of warmth on the inside. In this case, I do a walk where I am focusing on the shoulder push. So at the moment when you go forward, you push forward and you shift arms so that you actually do a left side and a right side in a normal, natural fashion. Don't lean too much forward, lean inward. Make sure that you're always sinking inward on your hind heel, your crown and your heel are on the same place. So that means also that you have to keep your spinal column open. The spinal column open means lifting, of course, the base of the skull, the vertebra behind the heart, and the vertebra between the kidneys. Then at that moment you activate your nerves. I feel it's a very good exercise to relieve tension after driving in a car for a long time, but it is also good against hernias. This next exercise is very calming for your mind, and it's a good one to let go of stress moments. But it comes in two different variations, and actually more than two variations, so you can experiment what will work best for you. The first one of this mountain posture is when you are standing on your toes. This helps to stretch the muscles and the tendons and the blood vessels from your feet, and as a result of that, it increases the circulation in your feet. Afterwards, of course, during it might be a little bit painful, but try to hold on for at least 2 to 5 minutes when you sit in this posture. But of course, it's better to hold on for at least 10 minutes or 15 minutes to allow yourself to calm your mind. The thing is, your body needs 30 minutes to fix itself, so understand that you're actually practicing. We talk about that later also. At the moment when you sit forward and you do in a more passive posture, you are lying down with your feet, you're sitting on the top of your feet and your soles are pointing upwards and you're sitting on your heels as a result, as in the other one, but now you're sitting more passive, and that can help very much to calm your mind more fast. So check for yourself what works very well, but it helps especially to develop the core muscles of your belly and of your lower back so that you are able to sit more long time in a straight posture, which you need to help your digestion, to help your heart, and to help your breathing. Medically, it is going to help you stretch your spleen channel and your stomach channel according to Chinese medicine theory, which help you with your digestion, of course, both of them, but also to help you stop your thinking. At the moment when you are sitting in this posture for a longer time, you might also notice more hip stability. One major benefit from this exercise, it helps you to stretch the ligaments around your knees so that your legs become more stable, your knees become more stable, which will help you also with your balance when you're aging, but also makes the connection with your lower back better. And that is, of course, a very important part. It might not feel like that, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. Because I also want to show you another aspect of this exercise, that's namely the side seat. This is a Korean way of sitting. It was usually used for ladies, and it is a little bit easier for some people to sit like that. And at that moment, you are actually trying to get your hips into the right position in case your hips are asymmetrical and one is higher or lower than the other, so that you gradually get your hips on the same or on the right position from this. At the moment when you can do this properly, then at that moment you can also find a lot of peace inside yourself. You can support yourself here and there with your hands if you want. But at the moment when you're sitting on your knees, on your back, then at that moment you will find that it is easier to keep your back up, but at the same time you will feel that because of lifting the base of the skull, the vertebra behind the heart, and the vertebra between the kidneys, that your crown is up and pointed to heaven. At the moment when you lift up the crown to heaven, that is a little bit on the back side of your head. In fact, you also start noticing your spinal column becomes more warm, and that is good. When you get up, you can get up leg by leg, and this in itself you can make into an exercise by lifting yourself up one leg after the other, and then go sit on the other leg, and then you alternate between the two legs for a couple of times, so that you gradually build more strength in that leg. That also going to help you with getting up in the morning or getting up from your chair. And this is then more for the front of your legs than for the back of your legs. But also your butt is going to be looking much better if you do this on a frequent basis. Some people will say like, but I cannot do that. I cannot bend through my knees. But I'm going to show you what to do. Because the first thing that you can do, first of all, you can create what is called monkey hands. You remember the gorilla exercise? The gorilla exercise also can be done with this exercise. You are lifting yourself up on the floor with the knuckles of your fingers. But you can also use an object underneath your hands to lift yourself up so that it becomes a little bit more easy. And now at this moment we are going to use an object to sit on to relieve some of the tensions of your knees. The point is, though, you have to remember to get rid of the support as quickly as possible, because it is not the idea to adapt the environment to your problems, but it is the point to adapt your problems to the environment. That means that the exercise is the actual environment and it has to be done proficiently. And at the moment when you are adapting the exercise to give you some comfort, and at that moment the comfort actually is causing you to prolong the suffering from the problem. I know that might feel a little bit too ascetic, but this is just how it is. This exercise will also help you in that case to help you become more flexible in your knees. So by going up and down with your legs, sitting straight up and coming down helps you to warm up your knees so that it becomes easier to sit. So after some time you might hopefully let go of your object and sit as it's supposed to be done. This next exercise is traditionally called a tree squat. It is done in nature in front of a tree. Of course, it has to be a big tree. You spread out your arms, you sink through your knees, and you sink in your heels, of course. You make sure that you are not falling backwards, and you make sure that you are sinking straight down. Don't go sit all the way as if you sit in the toilet, but make sure that you still using your force. When you are trying to balance yourself, you can use your hands in front of you, and at that moment, because of using your hands in front of you, you can actually counterbalance that you do not fall backwards. At the end of the movie I have a blooper about this, so you can have a lot of fun about me too. And at the moment when you do the squat like that in front of the wall, you will see that your nose, your knees, your hands, they all have to be against the wall, and you have to come down without falling. And that is because you are able to move your hips in a particular kind of way. Your hip bones, your lower back, and your knees, and your ankles, and your Achilles heel, all these kind of things, they have to work in sync. And as a result of that, you gain not only in a lot of flexibility, but you also gain a lot of balance and a lot more trust in your body. Of course, this is also very good for your gluten and it is also very good for all kind of other aspects of your body, such as your knees. Not at the least, these exercises are very good to balance the muscles on your inner belly. So not on the outer belly like belly crunches do, but at the moment when you are doing these kind of exercises, you're actually strengthening your whole core on the inside and also your lower back muscles that are helping you to keep up your body strength and to keep up your body posture. In Chinese medicine, it helps to activate the bladder channel, but it also activates the kidney channel, and for women especially the Chong channel that has to bring the blood into your womb to help it to stay healthy. These exercises have a whole range of benefits. For instance, your balance is benefited from it. Your uh, tendons around your ankles, your core muscles, your blood circulation, as I said, especially from the legs. Also, your also stretching the ligaments around the many internal foot bones, and that is also very important. So when we go the next exercise, we are going to sit again, and this is actually preparation for the lotus position. This is a position which is very hard, so when you are good in the lotus position you can try this one too. This is a position where you hold your palms from your feet and your hands together while you're sitting straight up. You're sitting on your perineum and you're holding yourself up. This one, of course, is very hard for the belly muscles, and it's also hard for your lower back muscles, and it also helps you to stretch your groin, especially for lymph circulation. That can be very beneficial. But we are going to try to sit here in the lotus position. The lotus position is actually the most balanced seating position. In Taoism, we see it as a most important exercise to communicate with heaven, because you are turned away from the earth. You can start with just cross-legged position, and then from there you are supporting your belly muscles and your lower back muscles already, and you can go to what is called the three-quarter lotus position. The three-quarter lotus position, your legs are separated, and then you can go on to the full lotus position. Because you stretch your muscles here and the tendons from your knees, you want to be very careful that you do not stretch too much, because if you stretch too much you might actually give yourself a problem in your knees. So you want to really take time to get to that point. It can take months. Usually the idea is to be able to achieve that in 2 months time. Before you saw me also lift my hands up. At the moment when you meditate with your hands up and your feet up, then at that moment you're opening yourself up to heaven. Don't do that in front of a teacher, because you surrender yourself to the teacher. That is not good, unless when you want to unify with that person, man, woman. The hands are better kept in a cup position, which is used in both Buddhism and Taoism, to help you collect the yang in the dantian. So at the moment when you sit like this, you collect the yang in the dantian. That's about 3-4 fingers behind the below the umbilicus, and depending on how fat your belly is, on the backside between the crown and the perineum. When you sit like that for a long time, you will also start noticing warmth in the belly, and eventually you will start noticing warmth in your spinal column. That is what is called the Dumai circulation, which is highly prized in many alchemical practices for beginners.
So these are the exercises. I hope you really enjoy these exercises and that you really truly have benefit from it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. If you would like to join our research program, you are more than welcome. I will put you on the waiting list for when it is ready, and you can already partake in our regular weekly classes, which are going to be one of the bonuses of the research project for you, so that you are saving yourself on a lot of cost for your health, which is of course very important, but also most important is to prepare yourself better for bad times. Let's summarize like that. When you are doing these practices, I want you to understand that your body needs about 30 minutes to learn something. Actually, your blood and yang qi in the body, it circulates over a particular kind of cycle, and your body, your brain, the different parts of the body, they need about 30 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes, depending on how healthy you are, to understand what you are doing, or that you are actually doing something, and how to correct it. You have to understand your body is a feedback system, and it means that you're doing something and then an effect goes in. You hear sometimes in advertisement people say like, you only have to practice 7 minutes a day. That is actually a false presumption, because you need about 7 minutes per change, and you have to have an activation, you have to have a reflection, you have to have a reaction, and you have to have another reflection. So that means that you need 4 of those cycles. That's about 28 minutes, right? So 7 minutes is always going to be too short. So if you can do something for 2 minutes, that's great, but you haven't done anything yet. Yes. So you have to understand for yourself that if you do these exercises, that you need to aim for every exercise to do it for at least half hour. And that is for any exercise that you do. Even if you're just doing weightlifting, you need to do that exercise for about half hour in a row for your body to understand what it's doing. Yes, sure, you're going to get into a panic and you're going to have your bonus of your dopamine rush, but that means just that you're going to get addicted to your stress, and that is not going to be helpful. That means that it is always better if you go to the gym, use lighter weights and exercise for a longer time. If you do half hour like this just with your arms, it's going to be very often for your health a better effect than when you use weights, because you're going to lift your fists all the time, and if you squeeze your fist, you actually do all the work already, so you don't need to do anything else. So save yourself money on the gym, follow this channel, and so on and so on. The last part that I would like to emphasize is that if you have questions, please contact me. I already said it before, but it is a very important part of the process of learning. You need guidance. Nobody can learn without guidance. We can try for a while, but accidents happen. And if you are clumsy for one way or the other, and that is because of the lack of Jing, and in Taoist alchemy and medicine, we say if the Jing is good, everything is good. Chinese medicine classics, they all say the Jing is good, everything is good. I know in modern TCM texts they talk about the Jing as a substance that is in your body, but that is not the case. The Jing in the Yin form is your memory of how to do an exercise, and in the Yang form is the fact that you are actually able to keep your body coherent. And this is where your health comes from, and these exercises are a first step to this. So that's about it. 30 minutes a day. Oh, and the last part, don't let me forget to give you this tip also. Make sure that when you are practicing and you don't have much time, do at least one exercise every day. So spend half hour every day at least on one exercise. Over time, you will start noticing from every exercise that you are going to get better at it. In the beginning, maybe you do all the exercises in a day because you can only do a few minutes for everything. But when you start noticing that it's going to be better and you can stand for a longer time or you can sit for a longer time, stretch your time. That means that you split your exercises until eventually you spread them out over 5 days. At the moment when you have the next 5 days, if you split them out over your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that's fine. You don't do anything on Saturday and Sunday. But I can assure you, after a couple of months, you start noticing so many benefits from this that you are going to want to practice on Saturday and Sunday too. In effect, it is not so much that you're going to be addicted to these exercises, but you start noticing after some time that when you don't do these exercises, your body actually starts protesting because it feels so much better. So many functions are working better. The reality is also that if you cannot practice because maybe you're on a holiday or maybe you're in a hospital or anything else, these exercises will roll into your system for a longer time. You have to understand your body needs 2 months to actually learn a trick. 3 months actually, in fact. And after 3 months your body knows what to do. That means that if you are having a break after 3 months, for 3 months your body will automatically have all these chemical reactions in your body. This is a very important understanding that you have to have from your body. That means that sometimes you can take a break. You don't have to be obsessive about anything, but just make sure that at the times that you are not having any problem with your time, make sure you practice something. You will start noticing differences in your face. The coloration of your face will change. If you also start thinking about your food, we have this in the research. There's going to be food learning, there's going to be fitness learning, and there's going to be meditation learning. So you can correct yourself on these levels too. But these exercises, make them especially when you're growing older and you have never really exercised a lot. Make these part of your regimen. If you are exercising, you go to the gym and stuff like this, you will find this is a great replacement. It will still maintain your muscles and your bones, so no worry there. The stories from the gym are only partly true because they have also some downsides that they don't talk about. But these ones have mostly only top size. So contact me if you have any questions, and I look forward to see you in any kind of activity or future videos. Like, subscribe, keep following, make sure you get an alarm up that every week when a new video comes in, you watch it.